further we go past its launch window, the more questions come about on what the Steam Deck can and cannot handle. That was a huge question and worry I had regarding Bloober Team's remake of the most popular game of the Silent Hill franchise. But let's dive in and see if it plays as smoothly as social media claimed before the launch. Here is how I've gotten the Silent Hill 2 remake to run on the original Steam Deck. Let's first go over whether or not this is playable, and that answer is yes. You can play this game on the deck, and you can even get most of the game running at a stable 30 to 40 FPS. But there are some weird things here and there along with modifications you can make to enhance the experience and make it smoother and better. The best place in the game to test the performance is conveniently the very beginning of the game. The forest you start out at is extremely taxing and the best way to see the worst you will get out of performance, especially when you leave the vehicle and bathroom and begin to walk into the woods. The biggest thing that makes this game playable is super resolution, more specifically FSR. At the start, you won't see much of a difference between FSR and not using super resolution or super sampling at all, giving you mid-20s in FPS while you're in the initial forest area and drops below 20 when walking into the forest. But once you reach the town of Silent Hill, not using super sampling will struggle to keep the FPS at 30 to 35. That is where FSR makes a difference. FSR 1 on performance mode gets you 20s in the initial forest area, but exploring the town will shoot the FPS up to the 30s and 40s, sometimes even hitting 50 well after enemies begin to appear in town. Well, as long as you play the game well. Getting the low health red animation stumbling state will increase the drops below 30 by quite a bit. But here's the thing. This game actually has FSR 3.0 and XeSS, as I saw the moment I booted the game up on my Lenovo Legion Go Windows-based handheld. These options are available on the Steam Deck too, but they're disabled. You can easily go into the configuration INI file in desktop mode and modify both it and launch options on the Steam Deck's main UI to allow you to choose these options. While I wouldn't recommend FSR 3's Super Performance mode because it makes the game look pretty awful, pick the normal performance mode and boom, crazy boosting to the FPS in a lot of areas. That initial forest area by the bathroom shoots up to a 37 to 50 FPS range instead of the 20s, and even that initial hard stress when entering the forest might get you 20s for a second or two, but only once or twice. Moving on to town exploration, we'll turn to 40 to 60 FPS with very seldom drops into the 20s even when you're in that low health state. You'll still get a lot of stuttery drops as this game isn't terribly well optimized for PC in general, but it's leagues above FSR 1. The performance boosting aside, these options were probably disabled for a reason. There are two main drawbacks to this. First is input lag. FSR 3.1 doubles the input delay when you're playing this game, and that is for everything. Attacking, hitting the pause menu, moving the camera, etc. You can adjust to it, but going back and forth is very apparent. Second, FSR 3 uses a lot more power. It'll grab every drop of RAM memory the Steam Deck has access to, and maxing out the memory like that decreases system stability, making the Steam Deck more prone to crashing. While I haven't personally had the game or system crash on me while playing Silent Hill 2, it's something to keep in mind. Despite me not having a crash personally, there are reports out there of people using FSR 3 on the deck and having it crash on them. That brings us to two different places for performance. By default, I think the game is decently playable on the Steam Deck with FSR 1. You'll get a lot of drops into the 20s, especially if you're not good at the game and go into that low health state, but a lot of this adventure will be very playable at 30 to 40 FPS, save for specific locations. And on the other side of things, enabling FSR 3 makes it play fantastic for almost the entire game. You'll still get the rare drop to 25, but it will almost always be above 30 and even 40 FPS during your adventure through Silent Hill. If I were to choose a recommendation, I would probably do a 40 FPS lock on the Steam Deck both for FSR 1 and FSR 3, just so you can get as much consistency as possible. Next, we have battery life. Surprisingly, I got around the same amount of battery time whether I was using no super sampling, FSR 1 or FSR 3. Unfortunately, it isn't that much. The Silent Hill 2 remake will only last about an hour and a half on the original Steam Deck. And as we wrap this up, would I recommend this to Steam Deck users? I'd put it as a strong probably. You can get this game working on the deck if you modify files and launch options to enable FSR3, and I've been having a fun time playing it on the go. Just don't expect perfection. You will get a lot of drops into the 20s on FSR1 and rare ones on FSR3, plus a lot of stutters here and there because the game just isn't that well optimized for PC right now. But if you do want to play it on the go, it can certainly be done. And that's all I have for you today. I'll be back soon with more handheld PC performance and reviews. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to leave them below. Thank you for watching and have a great day.